Hello, everyone who are watching this wonderful broadcast of our beautiful elders, aunties, uncles, and our support teams from all over the country. We've come together to talk to you about the voice. So they're going to introduce themselves, where they are, and their position about the voice. I'm going to hand over to Auntie Robin first. Auntie Robin, go ahead.
Okay. I don't agree with the voice because I think it's another way of the government to try and rope us in and get us to play their game. I don't believe in it at all. We'll never get a voice, not through the government. We have to make our own voice. Government has lied that many times to us and whatnot. So I'm just not happy with the voice. I don't think anybody should vote for the voice. It's a government trick as far as I'm concerned.
And were you consulted?
If anybody else agrees with me. What was that, Aunt?
Were you consulted? Did anybody talk to you about it?
No, nobody consulted about it, nothing. Yeah. They just said that you got to vote for the voice. Well, I'm not going to vote for it. No way in the world. Too used to being tricked by this government. I'm going to vote no.
Thank you, Auntie.
Because this drama. Hey?
That's clear. Thank you.
That's clear. Yeah,
you are
definitely
clear.
Not going to vote for it.
Yeah, thank you. We'll go on to Uncle Ken next.
Hello.
Yep, come in, Uncle Ken.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Ken Jones, my name. Got Heritage Eora, Bunjalung, and Apia and Dumby with Muckin Clan in the Kabi Nation, and we're doing a lot of work up here trying to just get the message out. And I haven't been consulted by anybody about it at all. Probably one of the things that I'd like to highlight is and this for my Ginnerborough sister there, we know one fella up this way who took a job, used to have a job that paid about 100 grand a year, and he left that job to go work for The Voice. So that fella wouldn't be leaving that job if that job didn't have a long time attached to it, meaning, his missus wouldn't have let him go from that job unless, and so he was a First Nation officer fella, and he wouldn't have been allowed, his family wouldn't have let him leave that job for something that's just a vote, right? So they obviously got some sort of thing there that it's going to go on a long time, because that fella must be jumping for something over 100 grand, and he must be meant to be going on for years and years, because what did he do with his superannuation? He ain't been in that job for very long. So my point on the whole thing, and I'll just finish on this note, is that why would they be just running a short campaign on this? No, not at all. They're there for the long haul, the fellas running the yes vote. Thanks.
So they planned this.
Oh, obviously. And as I said, if we didn't know, that there was this fella, like, as I said, he ain't been in that job very long. So, maybe 3-4 years, maybe 5 years at the max. So, he wouldn't have a lot of superannuation checked up. So why is he jumping to a job that might only be 6 months long? He not jumping to no job for 6 months. He knows he's got a job there for 10, 15, 20 years.
Let's hope not. Uncle, did any of your people get consulted about The Voice?
No.
That's what we thought. Thank you. loud and clear. Well, let's go to Davina, our sister girl that you mentioned.
Hi, and I understand what you're talking about with that too, Ken. I've been like doing the housekeeping on my own country.
Yep.
I'm a Ginniburra woman. The mob that I talk to on Ginniburra and other ones around Queensland and the rest of Australia, no, we were not consulted. And we say no to the voice. Straight up.
Straight clear. Thank you. That is as clear as a bell. We'll go to Auntie Kathy.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, so I'm living in Western Australia at the moment. Been here for quite a few years. My background, my family, my mob come from Wombaya, which is like south of the Barkly Tablelands out in the Territory, Brunette Downs way. And yeah, I'm certainly a big no for the voice, and definitely haven't been consulted. And my belief is a lot of it goes right back to even what they did to when Vincent Lingari and all them mob that walked off out at Wave Hill. You know, all Whitlam gave them was a bloody handful of dirt and tricked them with a whole heap of paperwork. So that's my stance on it, and it won't be changing.
Thank you, Kath. Arnie, and as far as you know, nobody consulted anyone over there in WA,
No,
in home country? Yeah.
absolutely not.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Auntie Sandy now in South Australia. Have to unmute yourself, Auntie.
Mute. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, thank you. You know what I'm like with technology. Well, South Australia, I can tell you right now, there was no consultation. The Premier on Q&A actually said that a yes vote before the referendum. Now, how is that? And also, on that point, I'm challenging the Attorney General for South Australia, who his mate got in as not being Aboriginal, and we've checked on his genetic DNA. So I've actually given notices to these two relating to not being honest, and also with the Premier in South Australia being so cocky of actually telling people, you know, Australia-wide, that he's the first state that's actually done a yes vote. Now, I was absolutely disgusted. I'm Uraldi from Wellington, just outside of Murray Bridge. I'm a descendant and written 2 books, Will of Warren. So I've been passionate about what happens in South Australia, because since we've made a province, as you would know, coming from South Australia, all our mob are mostly wiped out, the traditional mobs. Because of the province and the monarchy in input. So with them being so cocky in that, I'm definitely no against it's all rigged. And so many other things I'm finding out too are rigged. So thank you for having this and promotion on honesty to the people, and just the no respect. That's what I would say to any of our mob, but there's no consultation. They're just doing what, like other aunties said, you know, they're just basically doing what they want to do and setting us up to be, all of us be enslaved, not just our mobs. Every Australian is enslaved if this goes ahead.
Thank you, Auntie. That's pretty clear. I think you've made the case nicely for us. I'll move to Wayne. We'll come next, and then John.
My name's Wayne Edhouse. I'm from Victoria. I haven't been consulted or informed about this voice referendum, and I will be saying no.
Beautiful. Lovely. And Chris, thank you so much, Uncle. We're going to move to John.
Yeah. My name's John O'Connor. I'm from Ocean Grove, Victoria. I certainly haven't been consulted or advised any details about the voice, and I will definitely be saying no. And yeah, with that, I'd like to read
Mhm.
an article. Is it time to read? Yep.
Yeah, go
And
ahead.
This is just a little historical perspective on the voice. So I'll start now. In 1990, federal politician Kim Beazley made a statement in response to Senator Button's question in the Australian Federal Parliament about whether there should be a republic. His reply was, and Kim Beazley quote, "The United Nations has given the federal government a mandate of ownership for housing, farms, property and business to government control once the republic has been proclaimed." In brackets, Susan Burdock. The comment by Kim Beazley in Parliament back in 1990 should be ringing alarm bells. The United Nations is the new world order in waiting for a one world government. The current push by the Labor Party for the Voice referendum is the single most important part of their plan, which is to include the original men, women and children of this country, in brackets, Indigenous people, into the Commonwealth Constitution, because at the moment they have no contract with the original men, women and children of this country. Because there is no contract with the Indigenous people of Australia, a republic would not be achieved. Because the original men, women and children of this country are the lawful landowners, and the government would be unable to take control over ownership of housing, farms, property and business, thus thwarting its secretive push for a totalitarian republic where you would own nothing and be happy, as proclaimed by the leader of the World Economic Forum. His name is Mr. Schwab. This plan, as you can see, was already underway back in 1990. Every state in Australia has already sold off the Lands and Title Office. Your original titles have been destroyed. The value of your property is in the title. All property certificates of title have been digitised, and this is not a lawful proof of historical ownership. Say no to the Voice and say no to a totalitarian republic they have planned for us Australians. Wise advice. There you have it, and never forget that Obama, the lawyer, has been sized to head the United Nations, a global body who in 2022 went into a binding contractual agreement with the World Economic Forum. Again, I reiterate to push home the point, the latter's dictates on you will own nothing and will be happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle. And we are standing in the way of them achieving their goal. And it truly will be a wipeout for all of us in Australia should this go ahead. Thank you very much. I'm going to move now to Uncle Gubble. Coming in. I'm glad you could make it.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Hi, family, how are we?
Good.
Yes, so for the Voice, I'm a little bit thing. I don't really say I'm from Warrangu, far north Queensland.
Mhm.
You see, my family is I'm Jangala, and most of mob back home on country, they're Mount Garnet, Ravenshoe, far north Queensland, tropic area, or the place of highest township would be Ravenshoe in Queensland, the highest township. So Warrangu is one of the countries there. There's Ravenshoe, which will be Binganalla. You got Budgevilla and Jedabel. That's my 3 in 1, and most of my mob up home there. We don't recognise the Voice has any say in our heart or in our country, because our mob had been there for longest time. We only got moved around like cattle from one side of the country to the other. We're still there today. And our old people don't see this supports us or supports the people on the land. And those are the farmers as well. world. As you guys are pretty much growing up with us here in this country. We've got a lot of things back up to speed with this sort of stuff, what's going on with computers and that stuff. That's probably why I'm a little bit late getting on the line here, you know. Murray,
Never late. You
still in the
came,
bush, yeah.
love
You know,
Thank you,
but we
Uncle.
still made
And-
it.
Yeah, and were any of you consulted at all about the voice?
No, none of us were ever consulted about that.
Thank you.
Or the harm in the future was going to do to us. No, we were not consulted.
Yeah, that's
Mum
great.
Laura.
Yep. Thank you, Uncle. And I'll move on to the next one. That's all right.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I might invite Dan to come in. He's he's been supporting you. Come in, Dan, and speak.
Jingular, Dan Atkins from Sacred Earth. Been working with Gubble up north and tribes on the New South Wales, Queensland coast and down here in Victoria at the moment. And I haven't heard it or seen any consultation of my tribal brothers and sisters on this voice. I'm saying no. And there could be a trick within this tree. So we need to look at the trick, and I'm saying no. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Really kind, really good of you to be here. And we really appreciate the support of all our people, you know, black, white, red, yellow, all of us. We're in this together. So we want to hear from all of you because it's about all of us. We're just leading the charge to say no. Wendy, would you like to come in? Have a say. Oh, you got it off mute. Take yourself off mute.
Okay, it's Wendy from Geelong. I'm in Melbourne in a mall at the moment. I just want to say that when did the government ever care or be concerned about the Aboriginal people? And the Aboriginal people have their own voice. So why is the government pushing and coercing people to say yes to something that's not appropriate for them to be coercing and making a decision already and preempting and spending millions of dollars on promoting a yes? The Aboriginal people have their own voice and we need to listen to the Aboriginal people. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really clear and well said. Carolyn, would you like to come in?
Hi there, I'm Carolyn and I'm from regional Western Victoria. I do not support the voice. I haven't been consulted or advised as to how the Indigenous will be assisted by the voice. And I fear that it will be used as a divisive measure between individual Australians, both Indigenous and non-Indigenous. I say no to the voice.
Thank you, Carolyn. What about your friend there? Would you like to say
I'm
something?
Andy, and I'm from the western side of Victoria as well. And I haven't heard of anyone being consulted, and I don't believe anyone should be able to decide on whether Indigenous people need to cede their sovereignty or their authority over their own land. So I'll be saying no to the voice.
Thank you. Great teamwork. It's wonderful to have that support. I'll go to Felicity. Would you like to come in?
Thank you. I'm Felicity Dales from the Bellarine Peninsula, Wadawurrung country, and we were not consulted about the voice, and I say no to the voice and we say no to the voice, and I definitely do not consent. Yes, it's actually not what they say it is, and in fact they're not even fully telling us what it is. So it hasn't been done in the right manner. We haven't been consulted and it's illegal.
Probably more, yeah, unlawful and illegal, I would
Yes.
suggest. Thank you very much for your support. That's great. And, you know, all of us are getting it. We all understand this, and we're new to each other, but we've become fast friends over this. It's not about the pigment color of your skin. All of us,
No.
we say no.
We say no, yeah. Yeah.
And so it is. Thank you, everybody. Pass it on.
Okay.
That's like our
Thanks,
elders did. Pass it on.
Yeah.
Well,
I just working off of the principle of any value having a mutual cancellation. So they're talking about the voice. The only way to actually assert your voice is to address it in a way that every single clan has clear, proper way conduct to establish who is the spokesperson or spokespeople for those clans. And once you've established who your spokesperson is for the clan proper way, not in a different law way, then those unified voices is the true voice. How do you establish that?
Nice
As fast
one.
as possible. Calling
Thank
all
you.
elders. Calling in all elders.
Calling in all elders, all the real elders.
Yahweh.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.